But faith does not remove preparation. So David is not there with Goliath saying, well, Lord, I have faith that you'll stay. He had to be practicing with that slingshot to be able to have a precise shot or a chance of beating Goliath. And a lot of us as believers, we just going in with the faith, boy.
Yeah.
Well, God go take care of it. But you ain't cleaning your room or you're cleaning a house.
Hi, good day, guys, and welcome back to Candid, the podcast. My name is Josiah,
My name is Myles.
and here we talk all things honest and all things true. Now, on this episode of Candid, we want to have a bit of a discussion about preparation. I was having a conversation with Mom the other day, actually, and she brought up this concept of the way that she noticed in Scripture the way that God prepares things before what was meant to be there.
Yeah.
So just in the way that he created it. And actually, another friend, Daniel Hamilton, was actually talking to me about this, about their philosophy for some of the ministry that they do.
Yeah.
Taking after the model in Genesis 1 and 2, where God created things in an order which was preparing for something else.
Yeah.
Like preparing the earth before man was there, or creating the sea before he created the fishes to live in the sea, right?
It's good.
So it was just this concept of preparation before proceeding into a certain area. And she brought up the fact that very often with us, we don't take that model at all. We just want to run in without valid preparation for what we come into. Oftentimes we pray that way too.
Yeah.
And we're expecting to walk into seasons that we have not been prepared for. And we're not concerned with being prepared for it. So I feel like that's a really, really interesting topic. It's something that had me thinking a lot. So you could probably go ahead and share some thoughts, man.
This is excellent because, again, outside of the creation story, we see it as a narrative throughout the entire Bible where God is preparing persons before they get into their purpose now.
Yeah.
Some point, I think, along, probably would have been true during the COVID time, I would have shared with my youth group on a message entitled, There is no purpose without a process. So there's no purpose without preparation. And I have this sticky note in my room that say, don't wait for the call to prepare, but if you prepare, and then the call will come now. And I think is case in fact, somebody also asked me recently, what is essentially the right age to get married? Or, what's about getting married too young? And I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking about, we put an age to a lot of these things, right? So we say, okay, cool, this is the right age for marriage, this is the right age for that. But you have to ask yourself, are you prepared? And are you intentional with preparing? I've noticed that exactly where we are is where we need to be prepared for future. Oftentimes, so for example, the house you grew up in, everything is so ordained by God. The type of mother you have, the type of father, the difficulties you'll face, because that might be the same thing you face in the next season. What if you're upset with your mom and the way she is, and she's always nagging, but the wife figure is the same way? Now you abort something. You abort something thinking this wasn't God just because you didn't take that preparation in a season. And even as I say in that, I think of this phrase or this saying that just came to me. If you don't prepare, there'll be no preservation. Preparation is what brings preservation. If you don't prepare, you will lose something that is a blessing from God. It really, really, really is. But if you don't prepare for it, you lose it, and then you're kind of questioning God, or you think that the person was the issue, or the job was the issue. Let me go get it. It wasn't the season, but you just didn't steward a previous season. That would be what David says when he faced Goliath. He said, fought a bear, a lion came. So it means because he was steward in that season of tending to the sheep. Now, when he was faced with the bear coming or the lion coming to interfere with the flock, and he defended them, he got this confidence from that led him now to being confident in the next season, where he said, but I know how to use the sling because I had to use it then. So I could use the sling. It made his chances of defeating Goliath even greater, because again, here's how beautiful preparation is. It does not remove, or faith does not remove preparation. So David is not there with Goliath saying, "But Lord, I have faith that you'll slay." He had to be practicing with that slingshot to be able to have a precise shot or a chance of beating Goliath. And a lot of us as believers, we just going in with the faith, boy.
Yeah.
Well, God go take care of it. But you ain't cleaning your room, or you're cleaning a house. You have three sisters and a mother. You're not nurturing them. You're not being kind to them. You're not taking care of them, having conversation with them. But when you get a lady, you will do that now.
Yeah.
Those are prerequisites to qualify you for the next season now. But look, I don't want to go on a whole rant.
No. It's good talk. I think you're hitting the nail on the head with preparation and the perspective we should have, like, going into a lot of these things, because a lot of the times we just don't see it or view it as preparation. Most times people view it as, okay, this is the inconveniences of my life. These are the trials and the struggles that I have to go through. As seeing them as just trials or struggles, or, things that you want to escape from rather than endure through. And I think that is really important, that perspective of us being prepared for things. And it's very interesting that you use the example of the mother and the wife, because at the time when you're there in the family with your mother, you most likely don't know your wife yet. So it's like you don't even know exactly what you're being prepared for. Yeah. But regardless, you need to lean into the preparation. And I don't think David knew that he was being prepared to fight a giant.
Correct.
I don't think that he was. But one thing that was so intriguing to me was that I love that when he confronted Goliath, they went and tried to outfit him with sword armor and give him the sword.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Bruh, this is not it. This is not me. I don't know how to handle this. I'm going to go to what I was prepared with."
Yeah.
And that response is something that, I don't know, but it really just had me thinking a lot about the intention of what God has prepared us, like the situations he prepared us in and what he used in those seasons, and the way that we need to lean into the preparation that was made in the previous season. Because oftentimes what could happen is we're being prepared in a season, right? And we're going into this next one, either to fight this giant or to use the same metaphor, to fight this giant, right? And now we're trying to use swords and armors and different strategies and different things that were not the preparation for what you were going to face.
Yeah.
And everybody's preparation different, right? Saul could not pick up a sling and do what, you understand? Saul would have had to go with his armor because that's what he was prepared in.
And that battle required combat from a distance.
Exactly.
If you on the armor and the sword,
you'd have reached within his range.
Goliath mash up.
Yeah.
There had to be a strategy or a tactic.
Tension with how you were prepared.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is an important piece that we missed too, because I mean, it's so interesting. God preparing you in the season, and he's preparing you and saying, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to spend time with me. We're going to spend time in the word. We're going to spend time in prayer. We're going to spend time actually cutting off from, let's say, all these TV shows and all these ways that you spend your time, lock in with time with me. And when you're walking in the season now is like, all right, you're no longer spending time with the Lord. You're no longer doing the things that he has prepared. He had taught you in the art of doing so that you can progress with it. Because a lot of the times, the way that he prepares us and the things that he prepares us, right? The things that he teaches us, the habits that he teaches us, the thought processes that he deals with in preparation are ones that are necessary for the season that you're coming into, and some of the ones after. So we can't discard them at the change of the season. You know? So I think that's something very important. I'm literally wearing a t-shirt now that is saying, I'm not preparing you a land for you and preparing you for that.
Wow.
It's something the Lord told me 2 years ago. And I was telling Myles and Nick off camera that I have a really, really good memory, guys. Really good memory. Ask Candace. I could tell you details about things when I was really young or like really like long ago. Like, but when it comes to some things that God has told me or taught me, I seem to have the shortest memory, and it's the most frustrating thing. And I mean, I know some people could relate to that. So I've literally taken it upon myself to be very intentional about remembering things that God has told me. So like I print t-shirts, I do like I wear glasses without lenses that remind me of certain things. Like I need those things to remind me and to point me, and that's part of me actually speaking on this topic of being prepared.
Yeah.
Because I need to remember who my God is in the seasons that are coming and that are here actually right now.
Yeah.
So in another season, I wasn't prepared for this at all.
Yeah.
Right? I kept going and, get these fresh revelations and cool. 2 weeks, a month, I forget and operate in a different way, So I remember this one especially, it was speaking in a season where the Lord had just called me away from a lot of things.
Yeah.
And to begin really, really just focusing on time with Him in a way that wasn't seeking things. And it was easy to feel like that was a stagnant place because you weren't doing too much things.
Yeah.
And I remember the Lord gave me this word as context for it, as in, listen, you're preoccupied, trying to get to the land of milk and honey, all that jazz, but I'm preparing you here. That's why I didn't take you all straight through that short route to go there. Right? Because you weren't prepared for what you would face there. You weren't prepared for battle yet. So I took you a different route to prepare you for that. And sometimes we're really preoccupied with getting to the land or Him preparing a land for us. And He's like, hey, the land is already prepared for you. It's already ready for you.
I need to develop you before you get to it.
Yeah. You are not ready for it. And I'm going to ask you all the question. How many things y'all are praying for right now that you aren't prepared for? Which is why you're praying for a relationship, right? And all of a sudden, one set of emotional things come up with your pops, things come up with your moms, all kind of emotional things that you're, because the Lord is literally, he doesn't work that way. He prepares before He produces. He prepares before you progress. That is the order. So you praying for certain things oftentimes are going to lead you to a process of preparation before you can do this.
Bro, so much things you say that bless my heart. I think of a personal experience with me. When I encountered Jesus. So from a very young age, or as much as I can remember, I had a desire to have a daughter, right? So I remember I was saying in one of the previous episodes that, I have this desire to have a daughter and to nurture her and spend time with her and all that stuff. And when I got out of the relationship I was in prior to Jesus Christ, I remember the Lord telling me, He said, son, the reality is you would have gotten the daughter, but the person you were would have messed up the chance of a good relationship with her or your wife now. Yeah. Take this time to become a good man, morally good man, so you have the best chance of that relationship lasting. And just this vision or this desire or this joy that I have to one day have a family and to have a daughter and stuff like that, that now encourages me to be very intentional in my singleness or in this season of my life to become the person I need to be to sustain that. And I think that if you do not prepare or take time to prepare and learn some things, people will indicate or influence the decision you make, because now you have not been intentionally becoming a person. So when somebody comes now prematurely to say, oh, but why are you not in a relationship as yet? Or for example, if David was not spending time training with the slingshot, when they come and give him the armor, he would have attempted to fight with it because he probably would have been brave enough to do it, but his strategy would have been faulty. And a lot of people you're brave enough. You have the courage to start the business. You have the courage to get in the relationship. You have the faith to do this, that. Yeah. But because you don't have the strategy or you have not prepared, you're falling short every time now. You step out and again, you're despairing like, but what was wrong? That kind of thing. Is this the case? But you have not been intentional in a season in becoming the person you need for next season. Even when you were mentioning the children of Israel on the journey to the promised land, the Lord said that each day I would feed them with a omer of manna by morning and a omer of quail by the evening, just so that they know that I am the person taking them to the land of abundance. So on the way to abundance, they were being taken care of, or he was providing, or he was guiding. He wanted to develop a relationship, so when they got to the abundance, it will be sustained. It wouldn't be squandered. It wouldn't be so, and
that they would also be rooted in him as provider. Because think about it, it would be so easy to go through a wilderness, then come into this land of abundance and forget that God is the one that provided for this anyway, and just gorge on it.
But when he prepares me, or I become more like him on the journey to the relationship, even when I get married and I start facing difficulty, I don't despair. I don't just, this is not the right person, let me run and get divorced, because I was prepared well. I understand that as a man in my preparation, I was supposed to love this person like Christ loved the church, and he gave himself and present her holy and blameless before him. So independent of what I am facing, because I was prepared well, I can do my job well here. Because I steward my preparation time now. And now me understanding that me now being like that person is the greatest opportunity for her now to come into contact with who she is now. If I just throw my hand up in the air and well, now Lord, me going through this dip, I'm robbing this person an opportunity to really understand who they are, or see their error, that kind of thing, and become who God has predestined them to be. So, and the reality is, boy, if we aren't, even for example, with an exam, let's say I'm going to write an exam and I didn't prepare for it. And I go there and somebody who's going to write the exam say, boy, XYZ is the answer for this. It come, right? And them,
you played that. I don't know anything better than that.
Them clung in me. Yeah, they tell them, boy, these are the answers, boy. Thing. If this come on the paper, this. But if I haven't prepared, I might. When I reach and I see that,
you can't write
I might even write the answer. So they ask me, what color is the sky? But I never prepare. I never spend time looking at the sky, observing. And they say, the sky is navy black. Navy black, right? That's what they say. And that just makes me look so dumb. I go and write on this paper.
With confidence,
write on the paper, navy black. I know this one. Now, wait, when I see my partner, boy, talk to tell them that. And men getting the kicks. Ha, ha, ha. And some of us, we're making the decisions based on the advice of people who don't even know better.
Yeah.
They don't know better. The more you prepare, the more confident. When somebody come now and say, the Lord says, because I have prepared in my relationship with God, I know I am confident. He speaks to me, Papa.
Yeah.
If he comes so clearly to tell you something, I know he will also come, because I am confident that I have also done some things in private that should allow me to hear as well in public, or allow me to get direction in public. And again, oftentimes I realize that people are more concerned with hearing an audible voice than understanding the heart of the King. So again, we just want to know, Lord, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And God just saying, I don't want you to do nothing. I want you to be everything. Sit amidst it. Stay in it. But if you're not, again, preparing, they come and tell you, yeah, they're getting a hard time at that job, leave there. Yeah, they're in that family, they're going to go and rent. You don't have the money to rent, Papa. Stay there and develop. A big prerequisite for, the sequoia tree, right? It's one of the largest trees. They say where it is placed, or where it grows the most, right, is in very harsh weather, cold weather. And that cold weather is which allows the roots to grow so deep, to allow it to grow so high and tall and strong. And I was so amazed by that, because adverse weather is actually what allows it. The preparation it's doing in the winter is what allows it in the summer now to be one of the most sought after trees, or one of the trees that people want to go to and see and take. A strong, a robust, tall tree. So if now in the difficult times I'm preparing, They ain't seeing my childhood. They don't know the Myles Matthew that people know and see now. They don't know how much in personal time, dog. I studying and spending time and things I going through with my father and having to choose to love. Things I going through at jobs where people treating me unjust and I am choosing to show up and serve and be the. You don't see those things. You just see the public thing and be like, oh, I want to be like Charlie.
And that's the thing. I feel like a lot of us are desiring recognition in public without relationship in private.
Damn.
And it's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. You want to stand on a platform, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do the other, but you have no relationship in private. You have no understanding of the heart of the King. You have no sensitivity or discernment to the Spirit. It's like, how is it supposed to go? And that's preparation.
I think of this airway, and it could be a reach, but at this time, Luke 2, 52 to be exact, we see where Jesus says that his parents came to him and they say, come,
wow, that was what happened.
He said, why were you looking for me? He said, do you not know that I'm about my father's business? Still went on to say he submitted to them, and he went on to grow in wisdom and in favor among God and among man. What if a prerequisite for him submitting in the garden was him submitting in the temple to Mary?
That's good. That's good.
What if him submitting in the physical to the people that the Lord entrusted to him allowed him to submit to the Lord in the next? Him obeying, him being submissive in that season was preparation for him submitting in the next season, where it was also difficult because he wanted to stay in the temple and continue being around the scribes and the Pharisees here in the scripture also teaching. They say the people marveled at his knowledge at the age of 12. But here he is in the garden of Gethsemane now, submitting to the will of his father. And that's just so powerful, because my ability to submit to my parents at home may be the ability to submit to a boss that's a bit difficult in the next season. And because I didn't submit to my dad, who's giving me a hard time here, I find it harder in the season. And submission is what would open a door to promotion and to me one day probably having that company or having that business. But just because I negated it in a prior season, I'm finding myself in difficulty.
So then what would you say to someone? Because that, I feel like this is the interesting part, right? Is that, they say that hindsight is 20/20. And it's like, if you have the whole thing looking back, you could see where the preparation was applicable for which season. But in the present, in the now of what we're living now, a lot of us don't know what we're actually being prepared for. We have some idea, but we don't have specifics of what exactly it's being prepared for, right? So it's like, what do you say then to us who are living in this current moment, because we don't have the context of, okay, well, what you're doing right now is preparing you for this specific thing in the future. So how would you advise us in terms of perspective? How do you advise us in terms of perspective?
Excellent question. I think of Matthew 20, from about verse 20. The sons of Zebedee, their mother Salome, who was the aunt of Jesus, brings her son James and John, who were the cousins of Jesus, and they come and she says, allow them to sit on the right and the left hand side of you in glory. And Jesus goes on to ask, are you willing to drink of this cup of suffering? He goes on to say, the people of this world, they lord it around as tyrants. So that's how they rule, by lording it around and being tyrants. But the greatest of you shall be a servant, for the Son of Man didn't come to be served, but to serve. Now say this: no matter what situation you are in, serve. We have a high regard for people over yourself. Love people to the extent where God loving us hurt him. Not just physically, but emotionally. It took a toll on him. How could we, in all situations, just want to love people? And I think that's where preparation is happening, because now I have to go against what I feel in this moment to love. So I am becoming in that moment. So I'm not sure what I'm being prepared for,
but
I know I'm being prepared because I'm becoming more like him. The preparation is not so much a skill set alone, but a character. It is a character now that allows you to even function, because again, if you have the skill set but you're not integrous, so you prepare, you steward your gift well, you know how to play a guitar, you know to, but then when you go in to that place, you're either
you're rude,
you can't, work with people, you just feel you are it and that kind of thing. You will now mess up all your opportunities. Your character is more so the thing that will sustain the opportunity. So I think,
which is why the Lord is so preoccupied with that preparation.
100%. So, for example, if you don't know, and I could hear people saying, well, I don't know what I'm called to do. So what am I supposed to be praying? You should know who you're called to be.
Exactly.
You're called to be a representation of Christ. You're called to look like him. We are a reflection of him. So beyond what you do, just work on being like him. And a byproduct of that, you would understand everything you will do well, because your character aligns with him. So that's what I would tell anyone. If you're saying, okay, cool, I don't understand what I'm preparing for, that kind of thing, your character is, again, if you get married, let's say you prepared well financially, you steward your finances excellent, you save, you have this amount of money ready, so you find the wife, you get married, nice house, nice vehicle, bills paid, we have nothing to worry about financially, but character jacked up. So now when you come home and I having a tough day, girl, you're so and so, why you go from here, you whatever, and I am putting you down and degrading you and being very disrespectful to you. As much as I steward my finances well and my gifts well and all that, I will lose something that is a blessing because my character was messed up. I know ultimately the gift cannot sustain the relationship or sustain the blessing, because my character is not the thing that I was preparing. I was more preparing. And a lot of people, that's what they're doing in life. They think to keep the person is the more money they make, how they look, how they dress. So they spend real time in the gym. You're strong. You're exposing my pastor. You spend real time in the gym. You're strong. You spend real time buying clothes, shopping, your house, the vehicle. You're keeping the vehicle real nice. Whatever.
But it's the wrong preparation.
Wrong preparation, Papa. And it's not necessarily just the wrong preparation, but it's not the most important preparation. It's not the preparation that should take preeminence. The one that should have first place is the character. Here's the beauty of this. The priority in preparation. Here is the beauty of this. The only way that the aspect of your life could be prepared is if you spend time with him. Because he's the only person that is genuinely good or consistent in character. So it actually takes you now denying yourself to become more like him. And that is where a lot of people, because now when you tell somebody, just be faithful, they're going to try in the effort, all right, let me come off this, let me not talk to this person, whatever. And then when the minute there's an issue in the relationship, why are you doing all of this for? It didn't make sense. I going through this, because you were trying to prepare in your effort. Your character is only prepared through time spent with him. Everything else now, you have to intentionally work to prepare it for yourself. Work on your skill, craft it, but your character, he is the one that prepares it. Go ahead.
I don't have much to say.
I taken off my mic.
Because what I realized is that we had an episode, we talked about faith. At the end of it, it came down to us and God. We had a conversation about emotions, and it came down to us and God. We're having a conversation about preparation, and it comes back yet again to us and God.
Ding, 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 Steve. It's on the board.
It's on the board.
It's on the board, Steve. Number one answer.
And so if you guys are realizing a pattern, this was all of our conversations are topics that we honestly picked probably like a minute before we started to speak.
Candid, the podcast.
And that's the heart of Candid, the podcast. We're having actual, honest, genuine conversations about topics. We're not trying to be any super scholars or any of those other things. We're having genuine conversations, and all of our conversations about these things lead back to God and how important it is for us to have that intimate relationship with Him and to know Him in a real and true way.
It's good.
We talked about preparation in this episode and how important it is for, while we preparing other things, while we preparing finances, while we preparing all those other things, we need to prepare our character, which is forged in relationship and time spent with Him. And I can't stress to you how important that is for every aspect of your life. We need to spend time with the Lord. We need to spend time in prayer. We need to spend time reading our Bibles, and we need to spend time just resting and listening. Because sometimes we're busy talking a whole lot and we're not postured to hear what God has to say. So I think that's what I want to encourage you guys to do. I want to encourage you guys to spend some more time with the Lord. You could take up that challenge this week. Be intentional about spending some more time with Him, because make no mistake, it's very easy to do everything else. It's very easy to have some series you're watching that you know you're not supposed to be watching. I'm not looking at it, but that's some series that
I'm looking at all you. Stop watching.
All you're watching. You need to spend some time with the Lord, because all the things, all goodness, anything that is good and pure, everything that is truly good for you and your soul is wrapped up in Him. That's the truth. So yeah, Myles, you want to share anything before we...
Just one last thing, Charlie talked about prayer, reading the Bible, spending time with God. I want to say a real, probably underrated thing, but it's so overpowered for me, is community.
Ooh, yeah, boy. Sorry, guys.
Community
saves lives, boy.
Bro, it helps so much, and it helps. There's some things I may not see in private that I need to now submit to God and surrender to God. Also, I remember when I started Safe Space, the Lord told me something. He said, this community is not just something that you're doing, but you need this community way more than you're doing it. And in the formative years of Safe Space, I would have been the person that shared on a lot of the topics which I had to prepare for. I didn't want to mislead or just share information off the top of my head. I had to study Hebrew, Greek, try to understand the Bible, the context of it, because I was trying to help these young persons as much as I could. Then now being in community, now dealing with so many different personalities, I had to be constant. I had to now become more like Christ amidst that. And the reality is, we will not be refined or prepared in isolation. Preparation happens when we step out of that. So we spend time with Him, yes, but now when we step out, it is refined and it's tested. 100%. 100%. So 100%. I would say find community and allow and
the community is also so instrumental in actually some of the actual, honestly, community is very important in recognizing things that you don't see about yourself.
Real.
We just be real. And I would have posted, I think that was last week or week before, I would have went through the whole week posting. I felt led to give some love to my bros, because I have I'm really blessed to have a real good community, a strong men around me, boy. And I can't tell you, these men saved my life on more than one occasions by just them being there. Sometimes them seeing things, sometimes them supporting, sometimes them bringing encouragement in times when I was just really discouraged, and just readjusting perspective and just so many things. So yeah, just wanted to tag that on to the benefits, honestly, of community.
That's good stuff. I'm good there.
So yeah, guys, this was another episode of Candid, the podcast. We definitely enjoyed this one. Feel free to like, subscribe, and please share with anyone that you feel that this may be of help to.
And remember, guys, bye-bye.
Myles, you didn't just do that.
Daddy.
Guys, this has been Candid the podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye. Just cut this before Myles.
Later.
Yes, please.